Mara had always been drawn to the unknown. While most humans on New Earth preferred the bustling cities of chrome towers and hyperspeed transit, she longed for quiet, open spaces. So, when she saw the listing for an old alien farm on the outskirts of the galaxy, she felt a pull she could not resist. The farm was abandoned, rusting, and rumored to be cursed, but the price was impossibly low. Most humans avoided the place, and even alien traders gave it wary glances. But Mara saw potential, a chance to carve her own life away from crowded cities and endless expectations. The moment she landed on the planet's surface, she understood why everyone else had stayed away. The farm stretched across rolling hills, dotted with broken alien machinery and crumbling domes. The air smelled faintly metallic, a reminder of the old technology buried beneath the soil. Plants had grown wildly, half-human, half-alien hybrids that twisted in strange ways. The wind carried a soft hum, almost as if the land itself was alive and watching her. "Welcome home, Mara," she whispered to herself, forcing a smile. The locals she had spoken to on the way had warned her. "Don't stay too long at night," one said. "The lights, the sounds, the soil it remembers." Another muttered something about past owners disappearing or leaving in fear. Mara had laughed politely. Old rumors rarely scared her. Humans had survived far worse. Curiosity, she knew, was sometimes dangerous, but more often, it was rewarding. Her first day on the farm was hard. The old alien tractor sputtered and coughed, but eventually started. Mara cleared fields tangled with alien vines, each plant more bizarre than the last. Some resembled familiar crops, like wheat or corn, but with shimmering leaves or luminescent stalks. Others had tendrils that writhed slightly when touched. Mara noted everything carefully. She had no idea which plants were safe, but she loved the challenge. By sunset, she had barely made a dent in the wild growth, yet the land felt different. There was energy in the soil, a quiet pulse she could sense in her fingertips when she brushed her hands over the earth. It was faint, subtle, but impossible to ignore. Mara had never felt anything like it before. That night, as she slept in the small cabin attached to the farmhouse, she dreamed of glowing roots weaving through the soil, connecting every corner of the farm like a secret network. She awoke suddenly to a soft light shining through the cracks in the wall. Outside, the fields glimmered under the twin moons, as if the plants themselves were reflecting starlight, but Mara knew better. The glow seemed to come from the soil itself. She could not resist. The next morning, she fetched her tools and began digging in the patch that had glowed the night before. At first, she found nothing but normal dirt. Then, a faint glimmer appeared as her spade cut through the soil. She paused. The light grew brighter, revealing tiny crystalline structures, no larger than her fingernail, embedded in the earth. Mara had seen alien crystals in museums and laboratories, but nothing like this. These weren't just minerals, they pulsed gently, almost like they were breathing. She carefully picked one up, feeling warmth through her gloves. It reacted to her touch, glowing brighter for a moment before dimming again. Mara felt a thrill. This was no ordinary soil. Something extraordinary lay beneath her feet. She spent hours examining the patch, taking careful notes, and marking the areas where the crystals were densest. As the sun began to set again, she realized she had discovered the farm's true secret. The land itself was alive, in a way she couldn't yet understand. Over the next few days, Mara experimented. She planted some seeds in the crystal-rich soil, unsure what would happen. Within hours, shoots sprouted faster than any plant she had ever grown. Their leaves shimmered faintly, and small buds glowed like tiny stars. Mara laughed in delight. This was more than fertile land, it was magic, or at least something very close to it. But the farm was not without challenges. One evening, a storm rolled in suddenly, lightning crackling unnaturally across the alien sky. Mara ran to secure the equipment, but she noticed something strange. The crystals in the soil pulsed with stronger light during the storm, and the plants seemed to move, almost shielding the farm. She stood in awe. The land, she realized, might be protecting itself or her. Curiosity drove her further. She explored the farmhouse, uncovering strange devices hidden under dust and debris. One was a small console with alien symbols. Another was a sealed tube filled with a viscous, glowing substance. Mara didn't understand their function yet, but she felt a growing connection to the technology. She sensed it had purpose, waiting for someone patient enough to learn. And maybe, just maybe, humans were exactly the ones it was waiting for. Not everything on the farm was welcoming. Mara often heard distant whispers, almost like the wind carried voices, warning her to stop. Shadows moved in ways they shouldn't. And some nights, small creatures scuttled in the darkness, disappearing before she could get a good look. But Mara did not back down. Humans, she reminded herself, had always survived against odds far greater than alien whispers and shadows. By the end of her first week, Mara had cleared a large field, repaired the old irrigation system, and carefully mapped the glowing patches in the soil. She even managed to get the alien tractor working reliably, though she still did not know how it had survived decades of neglect. When she looked out over the fields under the twin moons, she felt something she had not felt in years: hope. This was hers, completely hers, and no rumor or superstition could take it away. But the soil had more to reveal. One afternoon, while inspecting a particularly bright patch of crystals, Mara noticed a pattern forming in the dirt. It was subtle, almost like writing, but she could feel it in her mind as clearly as if someone had spoken to her. The crystals pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. She knelt, placing her hands gently on the ground. And suddenly, images flashed in her mind. Towering alien cities, lush forests, and strange machines spreading life across barren worlds. Mara gasped. The soil wasn't just alive, it remembered. It had stored the history of an alien civilization, and somehow, it was showing it to her. Her heart raced with excitement. She was not merely tending a farm. She had stumbled upon something ancient, something incredible, something that could change everything humans knew about alien worlds. That night, Mara lay awake staring at the glowing soil outside her cabin. She could hear it humming softly, like a lullaby. And she realized one simple truth. She was not alone here. The farm had chosen her. Somehow, in ways she did not yet understand, she was meant to unlock its secrets. For the first time in her life, Mara felt truly alive. The farm was more than abandoned land. It was a promise that humans, with their curiosity, determination, and courage, could achieve what even ancient alien civilizations had left behind. And Mara, she knew, was ready to discover it all. Little did she know, the glowing soil would soon reveal secrets far bigger than a single farm. And humans through her would be tested in ways no one could have imagined. But for now, as she drifted to sleep, the farm pulsed softly under the twin moons, welcoming her as one of its own. The next morning, Mara woke with renewed energy. Her dreams had been filled with the pulsing crystals and flashes of alien cities, and she could not shake the feeling that the soil wanted her to discover more. She hurried to the bright patch she had noticed the previous week. The crystals glowed faintly, as if acknowledging her presence. Mara knelt, letting her fingers brush the soil gently. "Hello again," she whispered. "I want to understand you." As she worked, she realized that the soil reacted not just to touch, but to her intent. When she imagined nurturing plants, the crystals pulsed brighter. When she thought about uncovering their secrets, they shone with a soft, rhythmic light. Almost like breathing, Mara could feel a connection forming, a silent communication bridging the gap between human curiosity and alien intelligence. She started experimenting more deliberately. She planted seeds in several crystal patches, choosing different varieties: wheat, corn, and strange alien plants she had seen in the old greenhouse. Within hours, tiny sprouts appeared, moving toward the light like tiny living antennas. By midday, the plants had grown inches taller than normal, and their leaves glimmered with faint bioluminescence. Mara laughed in astonishment. She had never seen anything like this, but the discovery also brought caution. Mara remembered the local alien scholar's warning. The previous owners had abandoned the farm for a reason. The soil might be powerful, but it could also be dangerous if mishandled. She began documenting everything carefully: time of planting, plant type, growth speed, crystal intensity, hoping to understand patterns before attempting anything riskier. It wasn't long before Mara noticed something new. The crystals seemed to record her actions. Days later, when she returned to a field she had planted earlier, she saw faint traces in the soil, glowing lines that outlined her planting patterns. It was as if the farm remembered everything she did. The idea both thrilled and unnerved her. She was not just growing crops, she was interacting with something ancient, a living archive left behind by a civilization long gone. One afternoon, a soft knock at the farmhouse door startled her. Mara wiped her hands on her apron and opened it to find a small, hunched alien man standing there. His skin was pale blue, and his eyes were wide and cautious. "You are the human who bought the farm," he said in careful common speech. "I am Draal, a scholar from the nearby city. I study these old alien technologies." Mara invited him in, and over cups of steaming herbal tea, Draal explained what little he knew. "The soil you have discovered is remarkable," he said. "It contains living technology, not just seeds and minerals, but memory. It records, reacts, and adapts. Your farm may be the last of its kind." Mara listened, fascinated. "Memory, like it remembers the past?" Draal nodded. "Yes. Entire civilizations once used soil like this to terraform planets, to grow ecosystems perfectly suited to life. But it is dangerous. Those who fail to understand it can trigger disasters. That is why the farm was abandoned." Mara's mind raced. She had always wanted to do something meaningful, something humans could be proud of. Now, it seemed the farm was offering her exactly that. "I promise I won't misuse it," she said. "I just want to learn." Draal studied her for a long moment. "Very well," he said finally. "I will help you. But you must be careful. The soil responds to intent. Yes, but it also tests those who touch it. Humans are untested." Together, they began studying the fields. Draal showed Mara how to measure the crystal's pulses, how to observe subtle patterns in plant growth, and how to protect the soil from outside interference. Mara took to the work with enthusiasm. She felt alive in a way she had never felt before, as if the farm itself had unlocked a part of her spirit. Days turned into weeks, and Mara's crops thrived. The alien plants adapted to human care, glowing faintly, their growth guided by the crystal's subtle instructions. She discovered that some plants even responded to music when she hummed softly while tending the fields. Tiny sprouts leaned toward her voice, their leaves shimmering in time with the melody. Mara laughed at the wonder of it all. Humans had always been resourceful, she thought, but this was something entirely new. One evening, as Mara and Draal reviewed their notes, a sudden tremor shook the ground. The crystals pulsed violently, and the plants bent and writhed unnaturally. Mara froze. "What is happening?" she shouted. Draal's eyes widened. "The soil senses something approaching. Someone is coming. Perhaps not with good intent." Mara's heart pounded. She had felt safe on the farm, far from the crowded cities and greedy corporations. But now she realized that news of her discovery might have traveled faster than she thought. Alien and human traders alike would see this farm as a prize beyond imagination. The next morning, she saw it, a small drone hovering over the hills, scanning the land. Mara's pulse quickened. She had to act fast. Using what she had learned, she guided the crystals with her hands, channeling energy subtly to conceal the glowing patches. To her relief, the drone passed without noticing anything unusual. "Good work," Draal said. "But this is only the beginning. Others will come. We must understand the full power of the soil before it falls into the wrong hands." Mara nodded, determination hardening in her chest. She had come here for a fresh start, but now she realized she had a duty to protect the farm, to unlock its secrets, and to show that humans could be worthy stewards of alien technology. She spent the following weeks in intense study. She discovered that the crystals responded not only to touch and thought, but also to compassion and intent. Plants grown with care thrived beyond expectation, while those treated carelessly struggled or even withered. The farm, she realized, was a mirror. It reflected the heart and mind of those who tended it. One morning, Mara unearthed something extraordinary. Beneath a cluster of particularly bright crystals lay a small metallic sphere, covered in alien symbols. As she held it, the sphere hummed softly, reacting to her heartbeat. Images flooded her mind, planets being transformed, lush forests growing where none had existed, and alien cities thriving in harmony with nature. Mara gasped. This is incredible," she whispered. "It's a record. Or a key." Draal examined the sphere with awe. "It is both," he said. "A record of their work, and a guide. The aliens intended someone capable to use this wisely. Perhaps that someone is you." Mara felt a mixture of fear and excitement. The farm was more than land now. It was alive, intelligent, and ancient. And humans through her were stepping into a role they had never expected. Guardians of a legacy far older than their species. Weeks turned into months, and Mara's bond with the farm deepened. She could feel the rhythm of the soil, sense when a plant needed water or care, and anticipate changes in the environment. The glowing crystals became familiar friends, pulsing gently in greeting when she approached. The farm, once abandoned and feared, was becoming a place of wonder and life. But with every discovery came responsibility. Mara knew that outsiders, humans or aliens, might try to exploit the farm's power. She began creating defenses, simple yet clever. Hidden ditches, holographic projections, and even subtle manipulation of the crystal energy itself could obscure the farm from prying eyes. She would protect this secret, no matter the cost. One night, under the twin moons, Mara walked through the glowing fields, Draal by her side. The plants shimmered, responding to their presence. "Do you understand now?" Draal asked. "The farm chooses its caretakers carefully. It tests those who touch it. And you have passed, human." Mara smiled softly, brushing her fingers over a glowing stalk of wheat. "I don't feel like I've passed," she said. "I feel like this is only the beginning. There's so much more to learn, and so much more to protect." Draal nodded. "Yes. And soon, you may face challenges you cannot yet imagine. But for now, enjoy this moment. You have made the farm alive again. That is no small achievement." As Mara stood among the glowing plants, she realized something profound. Humans were capable of more than survival, more than conquest. They could create, nurture, and protect. Here, on a forgotten alien farm, far from the cities and politics of the galaxy, humans were proving their worth, and Mara, alone but not lonely, knew she had a role in that story, a role that might one day change the galaxy itself. The soil pulsed beneath her feet, warm and alive, as if acknowledging her presence. Mara smiled, filled with hope, determination, and a sense of wonder. The farm had secrets, yes, but with patience, care, and courage, she would unlock them all. And humanity, through her, would rise to meet challenges older than the stars themselves. For the first time, Mara felt truly part of something greater, something alive, ancient, and infinitely precious. The farm, once abandoned and feared, was now a beacon of life, waiting for humanity to show what it could truly achieve. Mara woke to a soft hum resonating through the soil beneath the farmhouse. The crystals pulsed brighter than usual, lighting the fields with a gentle glow under the twin moons. Something was happening. She ran outside, Draal following closely behind. "You feel it too?" Mara asked. Draal nodded gravely. "Yes, the soil is communicating, not with us, but with the world. Something wants to be awakened." For weeks, Mara and Draal had experimented carefully, studying the alien soil, planting crops, and learning to read the crystal pulses. But now, it seemed the farm itself was guiding them toward a revelation. Mara's heart raced with anticipation and fear. She had come so far, but she did not fully understand the power she was about to unleash. The glowing crystals formed patterns across the fields, almost like a map. As Mara followed the lines, she noticed a circular clearing she had never seen before. At its center, a large crystal cluster pulsed with steady light, brighter and stronger than all the others. Mara knelt, letting her hands hover above the cluster. The soil thrummed beneath her palms. She could feel the history of an entire civilization stored in its memory: cities, forests, oceans, and planets transformed through careful, intelligent design. "It's incredible," Mara whispered. "This is everything they created. The soil can do it all." Draal studied the cluster, his eyes wide. Yes. This soil was part of a terraforming project. It can make barren planets flourish, but no human or alien has ever fully activated it. If used carelessly, it could destroy more than it creates. The previous owners abandoned it for a reason. Mara took a deep breath. She had never been afraid of a challenge in her life. Humans had survived on harsh planets, built cities in the vacuum of space, and thrived against impossible odds. She believed that if she approached this carefully, with respect and intelligence, she could awaken the soil's full potential without causing harm. Over the next several days, Mara worked tirelessly. She planted seeds across the circular clearing, using the patterns the crystals had formed as her guide. She whispered encouragement to the tiny sprouts, moving her hands in gentle motions above the soil. The crystals pulsed in response, almost like they understood her intent. As she worked, Draal noticed something extraordinary. "Mara," he said, "look at the way the plants are growing. They're not just growing, they're shaping themselves. See how they form walls, bridges, and channels? The soil is learning from your actions, improving upon them. You are teaching it how to nurture life." Mara's eyes widened in awe. Humans had always adapted to their surroundings, learned from challenges, and innovated in ways no other species could. And now, this soil, this ancient alien technology, was learning from her. Humans could create, nurture, and lead even something older and more advanced than themselves. But her work did not go unnoticed. One evening, a fleet of small drones appeared on the horizon, scanning the land. Mara's pulse quickened. Galactic corporations and alien collectors had learned of her discovery. They wanted the soil's power for themselves. Mara realized she could not hide forever. The farm needed protection, and she needed a plan. She turned to Draal. "We have to defend the farm, but without hurting anyone. Can the soil help us?" Draal nodded. "Yes, but you must guide it carefully. It responds to intent. If we act with care, we can hide its true power and discourage intruders without violence." Mara focused her thoughts, imagining protective energy flowing from the crystals, spreading across the fields. She moved her hands slowly, guiding the pulses of light in patterns that mirrored the terrain. The glowing plants shifted, forming natural barriers, creating illusions of endless forests and false paths. Drones scanned the fields, but reported only empty farmland. The intruders left, confused and frustrated. Mara smiled, feeling pride swell in her chest. Humans had always found clever ways to survive, and now her ingenuity, combined with the farm's power, had defended the land without harm. Days later, Mara returned to the central crystal cluster. She placed the metallic sphere she had found months before into a shallow pit in the center. The soil pulsed violently, brighter than she had ever seen. Images and knowledge poured into her mind. How to fully activate the terraforming power. How to create balanced ecosystems. How to work with the soil rather than against it. This is what they left for someone worthy," Mara whispered. "I understand now. It's not just about growing plants, it's about nurturing entire worlds." With Draal's guidance, Mara began small experiments. She used the soil to restore barren patches of the farm, reviving dead fields in minutes. She grew towering trees with shimmering leaves and rivers that sparkled with alien minerals. Birds, insects, and small creatures appeared almost instantly, drawn to the energy of the living soil. The farm transformed from an abandoned, fearful place into a thriving ecosystem, a testament to human care and ingenuity. Word spread across the nearby systems. Scholars, traders, and curious travelers came not to take the soil, but to learn from Mara. They marveled at her methods, the way she treated the land with patience, respect, and intelligence. Mara taught them how to read the crystals, how to nurture plants, and how to understand the ancient alien technology without exploiting it. Humans, she realized, could lead through wisdom and stewardship, not just force or conquest. But the greatest test came unexpectedly. A small fleet of heavily armed ships appeared, intent on seizing the farm by force. Mara knew she could not fight them with weapons. They were too powerful. Instead, she relied on the soil and her wits. She guided the crystals to create illusions, making the farm appear endless and uninhabitable. Alien and human sensors picked up glowing fields that shifted and changed, hiding the real heart of the farm. Automated defenses activated subtly, energy pulses that disabled engines temporarily, magnetic fields that forced drones away, and carefully placed holographic projections that confused the invaders. The attackers soon realized that brute force would not work. They retreated, frustrated and empty-handed. Mara watched from the central clearing, heart-pounding but proud. Humans had once again shown ingenuity, courage, and adaptability, the qualities that made them capable of facing impossible odds. After the danger passed, Mara turned her attention back to the farm. The central crystal cluster pulsed gently, as if approving her efforts. She knelt, brushing soil from her hands, and whispered softly, "Thank you for trusting me. I will protect you, and I will learn from you." The farm, once abandoned and feared, had become a living testament to human ingenuity. It was a place where humans and alien technology worked in harmony, a symbol of what humanity could achieve when curiosity, courage, and compassion guided their actions. Mara understood now that humans were not just survivors, they were innovators, caretakers, and leaders, capable of unlocking the potential of worlds long forgotten. Seasons passed, and Mara's farm flourished beyond imagination. Crops grew in perfect harmony with alien plants. Rivers carved their own paths, guided by subtle energy pulses. The soil's memory expanded, recording every action, every improvement. Mara taught visitors, shared knowledge, and worked tirelessly to ensure that the farm remained a sanctuary, a living example of humanity at its best. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the fields, Mara stood in the central clearing, the metallic sphere glowing softly at her feet. Dral joined her, smiling. "You have done more than survive, Mara," he said. "You have grown with the soil, learned from it, and guided it wisely. Humans are capable of greatness, and you have proven it." Mara smiled, gazing at the glowing plants around her. "I've only begun," she said. "There's so much more to learn, so much more to do. But I know one thing for sure, humans can rise to any challenge, even one older than the stars." The soil pulsed gently beneath her feet, alive and thriving, as if agreeing. Mara's heart swelled with hope, pride, and purpose. She had come to the farm seeking a fresh start, but she had discovered something far greater: a legacy of life, a connection between species, and a proof that humanity through intelligence, courage, and care could achieve what no one else could. And as the twin moons reflected off the glowing fields, Mara knew that the farm would continue to grow, thrive, and inspire for generations. Humans had proven themselves worthy, and the galaxy, once indifferent, could not ignore their potential. The old alien farm, abandoned and feared for so long, was alive again, and so was the promise of humanity.